Hi, my name's Mercy, and I just wanted to share with you what mindfulness is and how it can be really supportive in recovering from an addiction. So mindfulness is really simply just learning to be in the present moment, being aware of what is going on around you. It's an ancient Buddhist practice that has been supported by modern science. Every year, tons and tons of more research affirms these awesome benefits that a regular mindfulness meditation practice can bring. It can be especially helpful in really overcoming addiction. And why is this? So, avoidance is a big part of substance use disorders. They usually begin as a means of avoiding painful situations, painful emotions, intrusive thoughts, social anxiety, and physical pain. What probably begins as a crutch soon turns into an addiction. And when you practice mindfulness, you train yourself to accept whatever you're experiencing rather than trying to escape it. By accepting what's happening and investigating the experience, we learn that unpleasant experiences are temporary and also they're tolerable. One of the most important benefits for me is that mindfulness and meditation helps us learn how to relax. Learning to relax is a crucial skill in addiction recovery. It helps reduce stress, which also helps reduce physical pain, anxiety, cravings, and the physical harm that can be associated with chronic stress. Most of us aren't aware when we become stressed because it really creeps up gradually. And before we know it, we're tense and irritable. So practicing mindfulness every day has two major benefits for stress. First, we get used to taking this daily break in which we can sit quietly and intentionally relax. And this prevents the stress from perpetually accumulating. The second is that you become more aware of what's going on in your body and mind. And you take a moment to relax when you become aware of the tension creeping in. Knowing how to relax is a really essential skill for managing anxiety and cravings. Mindfulness also has a big impact on helping to reduce the reoccurrence of depression. At least half of the people who seek treatment for a substance use disorder also have co-occurring mental health issues. And the most common are depression and anxiety disorders. So there have been lots of scientific studies on mindfulness, meditation, that have found that the practice really relieves symptoms of depression to a degree comparable to medication. And it also improves symptoms of pain and anxiety. All right, another way that mindfulness can support us is that it helps us to learn how to respond instead of react. One of the reasons addiction is so difficult to beat is that it's really a pattern of conditioned responses. The part of your brain responsible for higher reasoning essentially gets cut out of the decision-making process, and you react reflexively to stimuli associated with drugs and alcohol. Practicing mindfulness gradually can undo this conditioning. There have been imaging studies that have actually shown how long-term meditation practices can actually change the structure of the brain. The prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain responsible for attention, self-control, planning, and working memory, among other things, it actually becomes thicker and more connected to other areas of the brain. And the amygdala, the part of the brain really responsible for that fight or flight reaction, becomes smaller. So in other words, when you practice mindfulness meditation, you feel less threatened by things in general, and you are better able to think things through. You also learn to identify less with your own thoughts. We often fall into the trap of thinking something is true just because we think it. We love to call this stinking thinking. If you're in the habit of thinking negative or self-critical thoughts, believing those thoughts can lead to depression and anxiety. Mindfulness practice helps you see your thoughts for both good and bad, just for what they are, as essentially just guesses rather than iron-hard truths about the world. And then you can begin to challenge or ignore thoughts that work against you. And this is also one of my favorites, and something that has just been so helpful for me in my life and my healing journey is that mindfulness encourages compassion. I believe that compassion is so important in addiction recovery for two big reasons. First, it helps us to connect with other people, especially others who are recovering from addiction also. Now, having a strong social support system and a feeling of belonging is one of the best predictors of a successful recovery. However, this support can be really challenging to build. Many people who are newly sober often feel isolated and ashamed of themselves. One might think that someone in treatment would easily identify with others in treatment since they have so much in common. But paradoxically, many people are often critical and judgmental of others, often taking the attitude of, I'm not like the other people here. I know I myself certainly did that. So cultivating an attitude of compassion can really help us to see that we're really all in the same boat. Practicing mindfulness can encourage those feelings of compassion by allowing you to see your situation more clearly and become less protective of your own self-image. And the second way compassion helps us in addiction recovery is that you're able to extend compassion to yourself. As people in recovery, we often feel a deep sense of shame or guilt, and even feel like we don't deserve to be happy. Being able to feel compassion for yourself allows you to move forward. Having compassion for yourself also improves the way you talk to yourself. You become less self-critical and judgmental, which reduces your feelings of depression, anxiety, and negativity. So I really hope that you will consider using this beautiful, simple practice as a way to just support yourself. Cultivating compassion has been a very important part of my healing journey, especially cultivating compassion for myself and being able to understand that as a sober woman, I'm different from the person who was in active alcohol use. I can have compassion for the person who didn't have any coping skills and alcohol was her only crutch. And I can forgive that person. Every day I get to make an amends to myself that I'm going to choose sobriety for my life and for my well-being. And my mindfulness meditation practice has just been the biggest help in doing this. So sending you lots of love and many blessings. Take care.